New on KRQE News 13 this morning, an accused kidnapper booked into jail. What we've learned overnight, just ahead. And the search is on why MDC is left looking for a new top official once again. Also ahead.
It was moving too quick to be scared or to have any fear.
Two survivors of the police ambush in Dallas speak out what they say they experienced while on the ground as rounds were being fired above. Coming up. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to KRQE News 13 this morning, 6 a.m. I'm Adam Atchison.
Good morning. I'm Kristen Curry. Today is Wednesday, July 13th.
So can we squeeze any drops of rain out in the next couple of days?
Not
It's been
today.
hot across the state, not just here, but in, I know Southeast has been really experiencing some
Oh,
too.
absolutely. I mean, Albuquerque, we have nothing to complain about considering what the Eastern Plains have been looking at, not only yesterday, but for the last 2 weeks at that. Doppler radar quiet, and unfortunately, we're not expecting anything to pop up this afternoon. We will stay clear of the storms. Our temperatures this morning are in the 40s up in Taos, Santa Fe, 70 in Ruidoso. You'll find a mix of the 60s and 70s as you get into the southern portions of the state. But Alamosa, 30s this morning. It's the middle of July and we're looking at 37 degrees up there. So definitely a jacket needed for some of you up there north of the state line. But winds, not bad. Las Vegas only looking at 3-mile-per-hour wind. Albuquerque about 8, a little stronger down there in Deming and up across northeast too. But those winds will pretty much stay between 5 to 15 today. Our hourly forecast gets us back into the upper 90s today. Even by lunchtime, we'll be pushing low 90s. So it's going to be another hot one. Make sure you're taking lots of breaks in the shade, lots of water and lots of sunscreen if you're going to be out in the sunshine. More record heat expected for the Eastern Plains today. We're talking 100 plus in many areas east of the Central Mountains. Hot and sunny for everybody, but a late week cold front could help bring a little bit of a cool down for some, and also the chance for a few spot storms to finish this week. So I'll break down everything you need to know, the numbers, the winds, the storm chances, all that here coming up in just about 15 minutes.
We'll see you in a bit. Thank you. Minute past the hour, new at 6, as funerals for 2 of the 5 officers killed during last week's deadly ambush shooting in Dallas get underway today. 2 other officers who survived are talking about that harrowing ordeal.
He shot it, what, 7, 8 times? And I barely got grazed. I mean, if God hadn't been watching over me, I wouldn't be here.
Detective Corporal Brian Shaw was grazed in the abdomen. Officer John Abbott is recovering after shards of glass were sent flying into his legs during the attacks. The men say they found one of the officers, the slain officers, Dart Officer Brent Thomas, and tried to help him, but they say he was too far gone, so they focused on getting him out of the line of fire. They also talked about realizing they were the targets and moving away from civilians.
I hope that we were able to do about getting to the Lamar side entrance and him firing on us. It took his attention off of someone else.
Officer Shaw still has to have surgery to remove bullet fragments that hit him when he was grazed by gunfire. Funerals for Dart Officer Brent Thompson along with Officer Lauren Aaron will be held later today. A private mass is scheduled for Sergeant Michael Smith. Happening tomorrow, the funeral for a black Minnesota man killed by a police officer during a traffic stop is expected to begin at noon. 31-year-old Philando Castillo was pulled over last Wednesday near St. Paul, Minnesota. His girlfriend, who was also in the car, says he was shot after telling the officer he had a gun and then reaching for his identification. He died at the hospital. His girlfriend live streamed the aftermath of the shooting on Facebook, sparking nationwide protests. Castillo's mother says tomorrow's service will be a non-denominational service as an opportunity for people to come together in a new way, she says. New this morning, the accused kidnapper who led police on a wild chase through Albuquerque is waking up behind bars. Police say it started when a caller reported a man beating up a woman who was holding a baby. When police arrived, John Northrup drove off with the woman and the baby. Police say they followed him through northeast Albuquerque. Northrup was eventually arrested near Candelaria and 4th Street around 5 last night. He was booked into MDC just after 2 this morning. The man accused of firing a gun in an Albuquerque neighborhood over the weekend is expected to appear in court today. Derek Foote was arrested late Monday night. APD received a warrant to charge him with a felony for shooting at an occupied dwelling. But by yesterday afternoon, Foote was out of jail with a $25,000 cash or surety bond. Police monitored Foote's neighborhood in the foothills last night. Coming up in our next half hour this morning, how neighbors and police are reacting now that Foote has posted bond. Once again, the Metro Detention Center is left looking for a new jail administrator this morning. County officials say candidate Michael Watkins of Texas withdrew his application for the position yesterday. This comes after the previous chief, Philip Greer, resigned last year. Greer said he left for personal reasons, but his resignation came in the wake of a scandal involving 7 guards beating a female inmate. Also tomorrow, the public will be able to address progress reports on the jet fuel spill cleanup effort on Kirtland Air Force Base. The fuel leak, discovered in 1999, is believed to have been seeping into the ground for decades. Authorities say they've implemented a treatment system as part of an effort to keep the contamination from reaching groundwater wells. Progress reports on the cleanup will be given out at the meeting starting at 6 tomorrow. We'll keep you posted. 5 minutes past the hour now and happening now. Federal investigators are asking Tesla Motors to provide more details about its autopilot system. This inquiry comes after a deadly crash in May. One of its cars failed to detect a tractor trailer that crossed its path. Tesla says the vehicle's cameras couldn't distinguish the white side of the tractor trailer from the brightly lit sky. Also developing on this Wednesday morning, health officials will soon begin testing rodents in Bernalillo County's Bosque after at least one person diagnosed with tularemia is believed to have caught it there. The Environmental Health Department says they've confirmed the disease in 2 people, a 74-year-old man and a 71-year-old woman. The disease can cause serious illness in both humans and pets, and it's generally transmitted through dead rodents or deer fly bites. While health officials expect the disease to surface occasionally, they say one of these cases is unusual because the victim was likely exposed in the Bosque.
But we normally never expect to see anything any further west than Tramway, whereas Tramway kind of curves around up in that North Albuquerque Acres area.
The other case came from the eastern part of the county. Health officials are asking people now to contact them if they see dead animals in the Bosque. The city is now making plans for thousands of visitors to attend a new event in Albuquerque in just 3 years. The Duke City has been chosen to host the 2019 National Senior Games. The city was picked out of a handful of others. The event attracts athletes over 50 who compete in things like basketball, archery, bowling, and more. The Convention Center, the West Mesa Aquatic Center, and parts of UNM will host those events. Mayor R.J. Berry estimates a $34 million economic boom for Albuquerque. 2 campers are sharing quite a story this morning after they made a surprising discovery inside their car. Listen to this. Annie Brooker awoke to find a bear locked inside her vehicle at a Colorado campsite. So she says she found the cub trapped inside in the back seat and the entire car trashed.
There's a bear rummaging through my trunk, and it's like a baby. It's a little bigger than a cub.
He just wanted to get out. Deputies came to let it loose, and immediately the bear jumped out and ran off into the wild. Brucker says she left all of her doors and windows closed, but the bear must have opened the tailgate. They say there was no serious damage, but again, did leave behind a lot of trash trying to get out. A shooting unfolds live on the internet. What a Facebook live stream captured witnesses doing to try to help save the victims' lives. That's just ahead. And this morning, an investigation underway into time card issues at APD. What an internal audit found that spurred a department-wide probe. Also ahead.
These men and their families shared a commitment to something larger than themselves.
Honoring the fallen, a community says a somber goodbye to the 5 slain Dallas police officers. Good morning, everybody. 6:30. Welcome along. KRQE News 13 this morning. It's Wednesday.
We
did make it.
I'm Kristen Curry. Yes, today is Wednesday, July 13th, almost halfway through the month. Couple of days now.
And the week. That's the I feel like that's the more important part
true.
right now.
We're that much closer to Friday.
I can't believe it, though. July does seem to be going by fast. June just flew.
It does, yeah. And the crazy thing about it is going by fast, but you're reminded that it's July every afternoon.
That's true.
Because it is so hot out there. I mean, really, yesterday we topped out at 97. We broke 3 records out across the Eastern Plains. I mean, everybody is talking above average numbers. So we'll start with those morning currents right now. 40s up in Taos and Santa Fe, 52 for you guys up in Farmington. You look good down there to the south in the 70s. Lee County waking up to the mid 70s. Socorro County in the mid 70s as well. As far as the winds go, not bad here in the metro. Those winds about 5 to 10, including the Socorro area as well. A little stronger in Ruidoso. still, as well as up in Clayton. But for the most part, those winds will stay between 5 to 15 through the afternoon. Hourly forecast, get ready for another round of those upper 90s, looking to near 100. Even here in the Duke City, it's going to be a scorcher, but at least we're not having to worry about the severe storms today. Most of those dangerous storms will fire off in parts of the Midwest and the Great Lakes. So if you have family in the yellow areas, give them a heads up with the dangerous weather they expect there today. I'll break down your New Mexico forecast, including the slight cool off that we have in store tomorrow. That's coming up here in about 15 minutes.
All right, Kristen, we'll see you then. 6:32 in just hours now. The first funerals for the fallen Dallas police officers killed by a sniper are set to begin. Family and the community will first say goodbye to Dallas Police Senior Corporal Lorne Ahrens, Dallas Police Sergeant Michael Smith, and Dallas Area Rapid Transit Officer Brent Thompson. Yesterday, President Obama was among those who delivered a eulogy at a memorial service for all of the officers. The president tried to assure the nation that racial divisions are not getting worse. 5 seats sat empty except for folded American flags in memory of all of those officers. The funerals for the 2 other officers are scheduled to take place Friday and Saturday. And the funerals for Cameron's dad and Philando Castile, who was fatally shot by police in Minnesota, are scheduled for the next 2 days. Both deaths raised questions about the use of force by police. Meanwhile, U.S. House Speaker Paul Ryan says a bipartisan group in the House will examine issues with police departments in the nation. President Obama returned to the White House following the Dallas memorial. He then immediately met privately with law enforcement, faith leaders, and others at the White House yesterday. Also happening today, Alton Sterling's son Cameron, who broke down publicly after his father's shooting death, is expected to speak publicly at the convenience store where his father died. This morning, some of New Mexico's law enforcement will be in Dallas to help remember and honor the fallen Dallas officers. 5 Honor Guard members from APD are Dallas bound today. Bernalillo County Sheriff's Office sent its motor unit. Rio Rancho Police, Sandoval County deputies, and New Mexico State Police are also making the trip. They're going to join lawmen and women from across the country.
It's got to be really rough, and we just want them to know that here in New Mexico, we support them.
It's just an honor to be able to go and do that.
Southwest Airlines paid for the flights of the 5 APD Honor Guard officers. Stay with KRQE for coverage of the Dallas officers' funeral services today. We're going to bring you the very latest on air and online throughout the day. Time now 6:34. Foothills neighbors are on edge this morning. A man who they say opened fire on multiple homes over the weekend is back on the streets. News 13's Catherine Mazzone is here with the very latest. Catherine.
Adam, Derek Foote is expected to appear in court several hours from now. Police filed felony charges against the 29-year-old. It's why they can't understand how he's out of jail already.
The blood's not going to be on our hands this time. If he does shoot somebody or kill somebody, we did our job and got him off the streets. Somebody screwed this up royal.
Officer Simon Drovic says APD is disappointed. He says they spent countless man-hours finding Foote. Foote's accused of opening fire on this Foothills neighborhood, shooting at cars, even homes. Police first charged Foote with a misdemeanor until they learned more frightening details. Now he's facing a felony for shooting at an occupied dwelling, but it wasn't enough to keep Foote behind bars. He was released after less than 24 hours. Jail records indicate he only needed $2,500 to bond out. Foote's bond was set at $25,000 cash or surety. Police told us yesterday they were planning extra patrols and welfare checks for that Foothills neighborhood. Back to you, Adam.
All right, Catherine, thank you. Foote faces previous charges, too, of shooting at buildings and negligent use of a firearm. Again, he is expected in court this morning. We'll let you know what happens on air and online. We're taking a live look now in London this morning as Britain's Prime Minister prepares to step down after 6 years after the country's leader. David Cameron resigned after a recent vote to leave the European Union. And since the vote, markets have been unsettled and the British pound has crashed. Lawmaker Theresa May will now step in as Britain's next prime minister. We do know that May has been a member of parliament for nearly 20 years now. And she has years of a reputation for toughness on policing, prisons, terrorism, and immigration. Back in the U.S., Hillary Clinton is set to deliver remarks about unity in Illinois today from the same location of Abraham Lincoln's famous House Divided speech. The address comes just a day after Clinton won the endorsement of former rival Bernie Sanders on the Republican side. As CBS has confirmed that on the Republican side, CBS has confirmed that Donald Trump will announce his running mate on Friday. So that's another development yet to happen sometime in the next couple of days. Police in Virginia are looking for the person who opened fire on 3 men inside a vehicle. The entire thing was streamed on Facebook. The men were sitting outside of a home when the shots rang out last night. There were multiple witnesses who immediately came up to help the victims. At one point, you can hear a victim begging for them to call for an ambulance. That stream was live for more than an hour. And later in the video, you can hear bystanders urging the men to hang on.
Look at me, look at me, look at me. Stay looking at me. Hey, hey, stay relaxed.
The victims all survived and are recovering this morning. No word on their exact conditions. 6:37, as you wake up today, city auditors continue a month-long internal investigation into hours worked within APD. It started with the city's office investigating APD overtime, but now they plan to look at time cards altogether. This is to see if and how fraud could happen and whether they could monitor that entire process better.
It's something that's concerning to the public. You know, it's taxpayer funds. We want to be transparent with that money and make sure that it's being handled properly.
The Office of Internal Audit Department says this all stems from the state police investigation of an APD sergeant in the Foothills Area Command, James Guihe. He's accused of lying on his timesheet. State police are investigating whether Guihe was paid more than $15,000 for hours that he did not work. Authorities are preparing now to test new items just collected in the death of a Colorado teen. And this morning we're seeing video that shows us a glimpse of that new search. 13-year-old Dylan Redwine went missing in November 2012 while he was visiting his father near Vallecito. His remains were found 7 months later. The La Plata County Sheriff's Office says nearly 70 people searched over the past several days in Middle Mountain, just north of Vallecito. The Durango Herald shot this video of the latest search. Sheriff's Office says they did find some items in the case, but would not go into detail. Mark Redwine, Dylan's father, remains a person of interest. So when you think of jump roping, you don't always think of it maybe as a sport, but some Albuquerque athletes are serious about it and they want to go to the Olympics.
Jumpers ready, set, go.
Looked pretty sporty to me. This is Albuquerque air jump rope led by Coach Doug Andrews. The award-winning athletes took the national stage last month in Orlando and placed 8th in the country, 5th in speed. The coaches say jump roping is a great way to teach life lessons.
There's lots of laughter, but there's also tears. There's lots of emotion involved because these kids work so hard. They're very accomplished kids.
If you would like to get involved, all ages are welcome. Their next event is in September. We have information on our website at krqe.com.